Hello, my fellow weirdos. Yes, yes, you did see me take a dab. It's Sunday. It's overcast. Oh, that was a good hit. I'm out of my pain meds because they were supposed to be refilled today, and because they're a scheduled drug, they won't fill it before the last day of your meds. If it falls on a weekend, oh well, maybe they'll do it early, maybe not. But they didn't. So I've been relying on that for the pain because the weather certainly isn't helping. It's only making it worse. But it's okay because it's Sunday. But I have been so, do I want to say giddy about, I've just been looking all day at all different channels, from all different places, not only from this country, I'll get to it in a second, from other countries from yesterday. My allergies are starting to, because I took an allergy pill a little while ago, it's starting to all drain, so I'm like, ugh. Yes, other countries. First of all, going into yesterday, just people in general, media, whatever, were estimating from what they were seeing, what the organizers were reporting back, replies and stuff. They were figuring maybe across the country 500,000 people might protest. Y'all, 500,000. I've heard different. There's somewhere between 2 and 3 million, most of what I've been hearing. Most of them have been saying 2.5 to 3 million. Even if it was just 2 million, which they're saying it definitely was more than 2 million. Even if it was only 2 million, that's 4 times as many that came out last month. Well, February, on President's Day. Yeah. So, I don't know if they have the next protests already planned up. I know that beep is driving Cam crazy. I'm sorry. Hopefully my nephew, if he has time, he works for the mental health field, and he just did, he's like in charge of training, and so, but if he has time, if he's not running to a class, I'm not sure, I'll ask him if he can swap the battery out and shove it back into the ceiling. He's like 6 feet tall. But if he can't, then he will be by next weekend, and he'll do it for me. 2.5 to 3 million. And if you didn't see it on the other videos, if you were in New Jersey and you were trying to go to the, his here in Jersey, he has a golf course, the Bedminster alcohol-free golf course, resort, and cemetery. Yeah. Well, one of his ex-wives is buried there, so it must say cemetery, although he hasn't done it. But I added it for him. I photoshopped a picture and I added alcohol-free golf course, resort, and cemetery, because you really need to tell the people there's a cemetery there and that there's no alcohol allowed. You know, just for public safety. And late yesterday morning, when my last chance to get to a protest was like, they're not driving, they were going in a carpool, and she was the last one. Somebody ducked out, and she was like, I'm not sure if if I'm even going. She went, so she wound up finding a car ride pool that was going from her area, and she was in the other direction. So like, I'm here, the protest marched, I was here, and they were there. So, didn't make sense. But the reason I found out yesterday early morning, when some of the people started getting there early to get things set up, the cops were already there telling them, no, it's canceled. And they're like, you didn't organize it. You can't cancel it. You can't cancel it. And they're like, no, you have to go. And they chased him off. I guess they went a little bit away, town or so away, and did it there. But you've been able to do that. They can do the same thing at Mar-a-Lago on the way in to a certain point. So everybody was like, why? Remember they said he was off golfing while everybody was like protesting? He didn't want to be by TVs or anything. He was out on the fucking golf course. We all thought he was like down at Mar-a-Lago. No, he was at the Jersey golf course, the little orange-faced fucking clown. Cretin clown. Yeah, the little hunchback Neanderthal was over here. And he didn't want anybody protesting around way. It's a safety national measure now. He's not just the president in waiting. Ugh. Really? This little snowflake. His fifis are getting hurt, guys. His fifis are getting hurt. He's upset. The Republicans are scared. We need to keep it up. Keep up posting, reminding every week. Oh, remember that? Hey, remember this? The national protest? When's the next one? Just throw one up every few days. Just keep it going. Keep reminding them. Keep reminding them. I've even posted a link. You just have to write it out, and they'll have to like copy paste. But where there's a will, there's a way, until they take it away. And just so you know, they don't have groups. Facebook is the only one that has groups. But Blue Sky is a social media. It's kind of set up in the format like Twitter, Twix is, and they don't have groups, but it's owned and founded by a left-leaning woman. So only so much is, I did see something from Marjorie on there, but I'm not sure if it was her posting or somebody posting about, some doofus ass shit she said. But yeah. And the coolest thing is, I guess we finally we had that people started hearing in other countries finally that we were planning this big national protest nationwide in every state in the same time frames. Because there was so much chatter, because we started hearing them say, well, and there people from other countries are seeing the groups on Facebook and saying and finding out about Blue Sky and coming on and saying, we heard that you guys are going to do it. We were wondering when you guys were going to start protesting. And that's when we realized that some people in Sweden are and some in other areas aren't. I found that some in Germany, some were, some weren't. Some in Canada were, some weren't. So they're trying to really just mete it out to you guys to make it look like the American people, like what Donald keeps saying, oh, everybody wants it. That's what the American people want. So they have to manipulate that now like a freaking dictatorship does, because he can't look like he's lying. I mean, the news, the mainstream media are part of the cult, guys. When they believe that some of this shit, or have to ask for the money, whatever it is, it's like, so Blue Sky is owned by a non-Republican, let's put it that way, which is a huge start. But yes, when they all started saying that, we're like, because they would go into the groups on Facebook and be like, hey, how could, like, that's we started realizing, like a month ago, we were protesting, and like, we didn't hear about anything. Every now and then somebody from another country be like, oh yeah, I saw that. And others are like, so what? Where are you? So I was just as kind of shook as some of the others when we finally realized what was going on. Because that really had not been, even with this first time, it was not. They would spin stuff, but they wouldn't keep stuff from affiliates, so they're down the rabbit hole too, enough to try to deceive the rest of the planet. Enough said. Newsmax, Fox News, some segments on CNN, even on MSNBC, you've got the Joe and Mika show, and they're little turncoats. They should have been fired, but instead MSNBC fired the gay guy, the black gal, the Asian, I forget what it was, something, ridiculous things. It was obvious. They were like fired anybody who would be considered could be easily framed as DEI, even though they weren't. They're very qualified. So that kind of tweaked us. That all happened last month, or like in the last few weeks. So a lot of people didn't even know. This is actually America's second national protest. Now we're going on to the third one. The first one, you guys, most of them didn't even hear about outside of America. America. It does. It feels like it's America now. So if nothing else, this one, and the thing is, a couple weeks ago, because when we found that out, we really started pushing it. That's why on my Facebook political page, I was pushing the hands off, the indivisible.org, the 50501 movement, and all I was pushing all of their things on my page, their protests, where they have different, the different blackouts, which are still coming up and stuff. And yeah, when you do something like that, you start realizing, when you're gathering from all different, because you want your people that are watching it to get a good factual view, even though I'm not a big thing or anything, I'd still want to do that. It's not just here or there assholes, I want to give you some sort of like dependable news, or information. So that disturbed me, because it was never, something like this was never withheld like that. And it bothered others too, apparently, other activists, because we started hearing this in because I'm in more than one group, and most of us are. We're not just in one of the groups. We're in more than one. And we were like, no, we can't let that hold. If mainstream media shows are not going to mention it, or just give a little blip every now and then, and not connect them as a movement type of thing against our government, then I guess we just got to be a bit louder, a bit bigger, and a bit more often. You didn't hear us, Republicans? Oh, we can be louder. You didn't hear us, Republicans? Hey, come here. I know for at least New Jersey, we can talk for miles. Just ask Cory Booker. It might take something out of us, but us New Jerseyans, we're up for that. We're up for the how loud and how long can you be loud for a challenge. Oh yes. And the funny thing is, the first one was kind of haphazard. We were still having the shock waves, hit with other things other than political stuff. And, you know, there's weather shit going on. But this one was definitely more organized. And the different protestive organizations were working together, too. They were like, okay, we're going to be there, too. Well, we're going to be in D.C. too. Okay, well, how about if you guys go over by the mall? You guys, how about over the, you know what I'm saying? And it was where, so we can get that coverage instead of, you know, just this group and that group. It just looks like a bunch of little, you know, pop-up things. When the two big groups work together, getting from the states the information, and then to a you know, bigger group that they get the shit together working. This last one, that's what happened. Because I'm sitting here all day reading all this shit, reading these papers, looking at these videos, you know, so I can break it down and knock it off to you in a 20 minutes here or there. And the fact that I haven't been able to yet get graphics up and stuff, it's just as well, because you can kind of count it as a podcast. When it's, you know, you can still do shit and not miss something because you're just listening. Unless it's with the cats or art, or maybe if it get quiet, I'm just giving an expression like, seriously? Okay. You know, kind of reaction. But this is good. You need to keep the pressure up. Keep calling. On the 5 calls thing, every issue that they have for every single person that's I am legitimate, you know, that I'm a constituent of, I've made. I've got 3 more tomorrow. And I've done all the issues, but I'll still be calling them with my own issues of, what are we going to do next? What's Jersey going to do to say, count us the fuck out, Republicans? Because we got a governor's race too, so I just kind of feel, New Jersey, New Jersey, from what I've been seeing, have around 30 protests just within that tiny little New Jersey. What? I told you, New Jersey's just looking for a reason to be able to go to the streets and say, hell no, you've gots to go. Hell no. In the 70s, I was growing up watching the hippies. I mentioned this on another video. Watching the hippies. We're sitting in and for weeks, and we're standing up, and we're speaking out with the megaphones and the hippie stuff and the bra burning. And they were saying, because it was the wars and stuff, hell no, we won't go. Well, now for 2025, let's adjust that just a little bit to hell no, you's got to go. Hell no, Republicans got to go. Orange has got to go. I might make a sign, something, hell no. I don't want to necessarily say Republicans per se, but yeah, no. Maybe just leave it there. Hell no, Republicans gotta go. Maybe if they see that on a few signs, they'll start thinking, because guess what? They have re-elections coming up this year or next year. They all have their re-elections coming up. And I think they're starting to figure out that Democrats don't forget quite that easily. We remember what you did. There was none of that yesterday that I've heard of. None. I have heard of zip. I know a lot of people have been saying, oh, on the Republican side, making posts on Twix going, oh, every single one of those was paid. Every single one by rich Democrats. I'm like, really? 2.5 to 3 million people, we were all paid. I don't think so. Oh, and I just heard a story. You know, the little scheme that Elon was doing about, for everybody that signed up, that they'll go knock on doors and get people to sign it right to vote. They were being told that they go knocking on doors and they get signed up. They get $100 just for doing that. They'll get, and that for every person that they get to, on the list to sign up and stuff, they'll get another $100. Well, apparently, there's one guy, and it could turn into a class action. And it's funny because both sides are assholes. So this is going to be pretty funny, because they should both lose. But now we heard after the election or right before the election that it broke that a lot of them were not. First they were saying, oh, they were Democrats, so they're not getting paid. No, what was really happening was these people, there were Republicans, but they didn't want to do the work. So they had this app or whatever it was that made it look like they were, it was legitimate what they were doing, and the names were legit. But so that's for the next bit. What I heard this morning was that guy is suing for however many, because he had like hundreds of names or whatever, and he's saying that he's suing them because he didn't get paid, and that was a very clear deal. And here's the list, and here's the what I signed. But how are you going to prove that they didn't do that stuff? They were never going to pay them. Just like the people that won those $1 million, those two people, they're hardcore Republicans, very tied into the behind the scenes with the Republican Party and canvassing and all. They weren't just people. They knew they were going to get that check, but they weren't going to get that check. It would be given to them, but they were going to give it back. I mean, you know what I'm saying? So it was all bullshit. He didn't spend it on that. He did on all the ads and stuff. But that was just to make him look like he's such a nice guy. Nobody would back an asshole for that much money. So now they both were assholes. The people probably did scam. Some of them did. And who knows if that one did. But the whole thing is hilarious. Because even if he didn't, that's what you get for canvassing for Donald. What can I say? Even if you did all those hours of work and you didn't use the lying app or something, and you legitimately did get all those names, bummer. I guess you're always gonna be gullible and believe bullshit, right? And he was literally sounded very surprised. Oh my God. I had to stop it because I was laughing so hard I couldn't even hear the rest of the video. I don't know. Do you find that as like ironically what the hell as I do, or am I just you can hear my voice going because I've been doing a lot of talking yesterday and today, but my eyes are all, well, they look like big brown circles. Probably look like a raccoon. Should have just put some heavy eye makeup on and said I was doing goth day. It's just part of that is my sinuses are just they're not happy with this weather. I've mentioned it before to you, but yeah, they're suing Elon because they won't pay them for the fake work they did. The guy in charge of Doge. It's too much. It's too much. They learned nothing from yesterday. Why do so many people hate him, even in other countries? You thought you were going to get paid. Anybody that still thinks you're going to get anything, even a fair conversation out of any of them at this point is, what the fuck is wrong with you if you still believe in them? Ah! I'm laughing so hard inside I'm getting ready to tear up. It's like a I can't believe how incredibly gullible some people are. I mean, the first time I understand it because he made a lot of promises and you didn't want to believe he was such a liar. But when he faked the ear thing, and then they all wore maxi pads on their ears. Oh my God. I couldn't listen to that shit that was being spewed, but I would every now and then pop in to get like a 15-20 second, just so I can get a glimpse of everybody in the audience with the maxi pads taped to their head. That was before the election. And at that point, it was like laugh or cry. It's like, oh my God, you just want to like, it's like, wake up, just wake up. Just like, oh, please. Just, oh my God, think. For 1 second. which makes him losing all that money and not getting that seat in Wisconsin so much tastier. Oh my gosh. Well, enjoy the rest of your Sunday. It's actually getting cold already. It's like 4 o'clock maybe? Oh, not even. 10, quarter, it's only 2:45. It looks like it's 7 o'clock by the amount of light. But anyway, yeah, crazy shit. But, that was very, very crazy. The next protest, I think I've got a ride. If I do, I'm going to clean my phone as much as possible so I have room. And I'll definitely have video of my own to share. So, take some good signs, some good costumes, and make sure I got a red lipstick. I got a few of them, from very dark red to, woo, 1940s red. That's the one I like. Either that or hot pink like this. Those are the two power colors. But the reason, let me quick, I'm gonna go, but the Red Lipstick Brigade, it was, I believe, World War II. If you notice, a lot of those, they all had red lipstick, right? And the pinups, they always had a red lipstick. The bolder the better. That is, and you're gonna say, oh well, I was always taught that, wearing red lipstick like that or red nail polish means you're a lady of the evening. A prostitute. Yeah. Let me tell you something about that. During the wartime, you see a lot of people a lot of guys will wear red ties or ties with red in it. Red is considered a power color to men, or for men. When you're wearing red, just like when you're wearing hot pink, women get this with hot pink, but they also get it with red. But this is what men get, the same thing. That feeling of, ooh, look at this. Yeah, I'm wearing that color. What you gonna do about it? Kind of feeling of. So if you're like needing to make a speech, sometimes they'll put on a very bold tie, because that makes them, you fake it till you feel it, kind of thing. Fake it till you feel it. So if you give that impression of, yeah, that's right, I'm going to a protest, inside you're like, oh God, I hope nobody gets stupid, so there doesn't have to be a problem. Inside, let me tell you something about courage and bravery. That is not something it's not a tangible. What courage and bravery is being scared to fucking death to do or say something, but doing it anyway, because that is the humane and moral and just the correct thing to do, no matter how much it fucking terrifies you. You might die. That is what is bravery, and that is what courage is. To go out there knowing they're scooping up people that are even white and citizens now. And doing it fucking anyway. And doing it loud, too. That's why people wear the chicken costume, or the handmaids. Because it's easier to not necessarily blend in, but if you're not, it gives you that you're playing a role, And the reason I like this hippie, that like I was wearing yesterday, with the other one across my head, uh, because for me, growing up, I was born in '63. In November, President Kennedy was assassinated. The year I was born, just 6 months, 7 months after I was born. That was a turning point in this country. But at World War II, in the 40s, I remember seeing this stuff during the 70s when they were protesting the Vietnam War. I mean, during times, as I was growing up before I was an adult, and those were hippies. In hippie, with the hip, the whole thing. And like I said in another video, they were sitting in and they were standing up and speaking out and burning their bras and getting that attention and being bare chested. I mean, back then, hippie times. But I mean, they did it because, like the French protesting team, but people here are so bent out of shape about boobs. Guys that can't keep it in their pants if they see a pair of boobs in public, for God's sake. Freaky. Oh yeah. You're the ones that are the ones that are more likely in a fit of testosterone to push a button. Oh, women, every time she's on menopause, every time she's got, PMS, she'll put... Shut up. You only make you make the same story, I'm getting to. The men did the same thing. They make the same story about red lipstick. Making it, that it's only because if they wear red lipstick, they must... I'll tell you why they did that. Because during World War II, I keep starting it, the women had to take jobs. They had to, because the men were going to war, they had to keep the shit going, so they took their husbands' jobs on the making, munitions and anything, going stockingless, because the whole thing, because they didn't have for the stock, the whole thing. One of the things that, because women, they didn't have voting rights and this, so they're used to just not being the one in charge, just being home, taking care of the home, the hearth, and the kids, And suddenly they have to be in these positions and with responsibilities of, like, their family because he's not there, he's fighting. And red lipstick, when you put that red lipstick on, ladies, even women that... I don't wear a lot of makeup. Otherwise, you wouldn't see my eye circles sometimes. Often. They put that red lipstick on, and it gave them that power. When you look at it, that red is like, oh, hello, ma'am. It's meant because men respond to that red as power, and you can look that up. And they did not. When they all got home, the war was done, their women, suddenly, the women they come home to were self-assured, confident in their abilities that they can make decisions and make good decisions. And, oh my, I don't have to be a sidekick. I can be a co-pilot. This is cool. And she was wearing red lipstick. That red lipstick, some of them started figuring out, is what gave those women that confidence. And every time they saw their wives putting on that red lipstick and their shoulders went back when they're looking in the mirror, instead of brushing their hair, they're like... And the men are like, oh, this is not good. We cannot let them feel that much power. This is not good. And so they started telling us the thing that only prostitutes wear red lipstick and red nail polish. If you're only trying to solicit a man's lust, will you wear that? Why? Because you don't understand color therapy and your dick can't stay in its pants if some lady is wearing red, so you have to bar it. That's like, where are they with the FDA with a, now they've got where the women can't have windows because if a guy walks by and she happens to be walking past, God forbid he see her in that momentary second while she's cleaning the house, and want to lust because he can't keep his dick in his pants, the women have to suffer. Those of you men that are like that, you are so pathetic. Wow. Wow. It's the whole thing about the Handmaid's Tale. Y'all are so threatened by women. This is part of what the shit's about. It's been about for women. Because you don't fucking respect that. You feel in competition to us. You know, when the guy gets a raise or something, the wife, this is the way it usually works. She's proud of her husband. She talks about, yeah, you gotta... Why can't men do that? I mean, some do. But why do so many men, too many men, the first the first knee-jerk response to a woman not even besting him, just anything positive for them, it's like, oh, we can't make this a habit. This cannot be a habit. That is what the Red Lipstick Brigade was. It was the women working them men jobs, taking those responsibilities, running that damn household without the man there, and not doing too badly, with no partner to help. She's also doing all the other stuff she did. And she found out after a while she could do it. He came home, did not like, he liked it at first. But when she wasn't scuttling about him like a subservient, minion, some of those men did not like the change in their women. And one of the ways was, let's just say, red lipstick makes you look like a slut, basically. So we discourage the women from wearing that powerful, oh yeah, little light pink, that's very pretty. That's very demure. That's very kiss my ass. I mean, there's times and places for that, and corals and oranges and browns. But when you want some confidence, ladies, that's your friend. And the brighter, cherry bright red, not that deep dark red, now that, if that's the only red you'll wear, that works too. But if you're partial to wear this kind of a color, this kind of a red, slap something like this on. Yeah. Slap some of that on, and then look at yourself in the mirror. I'll bet you do one of these things. You will. You'll do something like that. Be like, ah, so fabulous. You are fabulous. But I mean, I know I'm being goofy. I'm tired. But he's like, Judy, go to sleep. But yeah, there is something about that. So remember, ladies, for the next protest, it's the Red Lip Brigade. That really worries men, trust me. If an entire protest had women wearing red lipstick, I bet somebody mentions it when they're reporting it. I'll bet you somebody would notice that. I might suggest that to a group next coming in for the next one, because I mean you can just get a cheap red lipstick at the Dollar Tree. I mean it doesn't have to be just for the day, and carry it with you. When you start smearing your drink water or something, slap that puppy back on. I'm telling you, the pictures, seeing just about every woman wearing red lipstick, it will be noticed. I would love to see that, because that would be a statement. And some of the older people, even older than me, and he certainly is, well, he might not understand it, but other people, especially the people that were in the military, they'll remember it. They'll remember it once they see all the women wearing red. They're like, ooh, that looks familiar. Uh-oh. That was when the women rose up and started demanding shit from us. Uh-oh. Guess what, ladies? We can do it again. Peace out.